Hey, let's talk about a huge mistake that you might be making when you are setting in appointments. And frankly, this is a mistake that I've made over the years. I've learned from those mistakes and I do it better now than I ever have. So here's the mistake. Sometimes I would call a client and I would look to set the appointment with the client. Maybe they called in, maybe they were referred to us. And when I would call, I would say something like, when's a good time to meet? Or I'd look at my own calendar and say, well, how about we meet on this date? And what I realized is if you ask that client that question without first understanding their sense of urgency, you might actually be setting a meeting too quickly or too far out into the future. So one of the first questions that I will ask somewhere in that initial conversation is, I'll pick a point in the future. So in the case of real estate, I might say, when ideally would you like buyers walking through your home and it being on the market? And then I might say some sellers will call me and say, I want to be doing that in 3 days. Some sellers will tell me 3 weeks. Some sellers will tell me 3 months. What would be the ideal time frame for you? The reason I ask that question and the reason I give them multiple options is so they can find their place somewhere inside of that. If I were to say, most sellers tell me 3 days, they might say, hey, you're being pushy right now. So I'll ask them the question, I'll give them a wide range of a time frame, and then when they answer the question, that gives me their sense of urgency, and I can provide an appropriate time on the calendar for the next follow-up appointment based on that.